Here it is, an episode of POS. Can you hear me? Bobby, talk.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, look at us hearing us. Thanks, Jake. I think the only guy, my brother, who watches the show anymore, but that's fine. Yeah, we've been half-assed. We just had a half-assed discussion. I think that was great. Bobby came to me and said, we're both being half-assed, but we both didn't complete sentences. So we just had a half-assed conversation about being half-assed. That's the show. Like, what I think we've been trying to are with the bells and whistles. Let's go back and just being idiots. I think that's more fun.
I think I've been doing some research into how to get more views and things like that. So, Susan Boyle, you're a fucking cunt. If I see you in public, we're fist fighting, you bitch.
Does anyone know who she is anymore?
That's why it's funny.
Oh, we're just going after people that used to be?
Yeah, that never were, that have no interaction with us whatsoever.
What was that guy's name with the who ran in the Olympics with fake legs? Michael Pasapa. Yeah, fuck you, you piece of shit. Your stupid non-real legs. I'll fight him. What was that guy's name?
Didn't he murder his wife then with those legs?
Oh yeah, you know what? Never mind. I forgot he had fucking X-Man powers. I don't want to fuck with that guy. The guy has stabby legs. What were you doing? Were you brewing coffee? There was a big noise there.
This?
No, before that, like when you.
Oh, I may have coughed. I apologize.
No. It was like a machine.
So currently, my neighbor's basement is flooded.
Oh no.
Now, you don't know this about my neighbors, but we recently got new neighbors. The nice elderly African-American couple moved out, and we've got new money Puerto Ricans.
I didn't know that was a thing. New money Puerto Ricans?
Mm-hmm.
And NPR?
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with it. Do I think they're the ones who probably broke into my car last week? Probably. Just because they're new in the neighborhood and I saw them going, looking at me going in the car. But no worries. They seem nice. But their basement's flooded. So Ray, my landlord, who hasn't slept in 3 days, he's been dealing with real insomnia. I see him every morning. He's like, still haven't slept yet. Is over there trying to help them. And there's a language barrier, a knowledge barrier, and it is just... So who knows what that explosion was? I'm hoping it's not my landlord getting dry electrocuted.
Oh, and speaking of new money Puerto Ricans, I'll be on the Real Ass podcast on Tuesday. There's our shots fired. You want to have?
There's the clip.
Clip. That's it there. Yep, I'll be appearing on there on Tuesday. Thanks, Mike O'Donnell and Ski Mask, for both reminding me with text. I forgot. I've been running around. First of all, you were running around. You just literally got in your place. You were recording something with Eastside Dave.
Yeah, the Davy Mac Sports program is now live from the Dojo of Comedy, which is pretty cool, in New Jersey.
Oh, that's a travel.
It is, but it's kind of halfway between Dave and Roy, which is nice. And I'm willing to travel further because I'm the younger guy. I get that. It's not much further for me, if that makes any sense. And Mike Romanelli is just a guy who's trying to help young comedians. He built a podcast studio above his comedy room that he built above his restaurant just to give young comics a place. So he's a real good guy. He's giving us the room for free, and it's a beautiful room. So it's been a lot of fun.
Does he have equipment and everything, or you got to bring equipment?
So he does have equipment, but we're kind of trying to get to the point where we are a one-stop shop. So Roy and I bring in the audio equipment. We can roll into any bar in New York. We can roll out, and we're all good to go. So it's a learning curve, and we're getting there, but it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. So that's cool. You guys did all that today. Now, is it going to always be on Sundays?
That's the plan, but with comedy, if things start to become an issue.
No, but I meant, weren't you recording on Tuesdays before?
Initially, we were doing Tuesdays when it was Eastside Dave at Compound, and then we were doing Mondays. And now we're doing Sundays, and hopefully we can do some stuff with football in the football season.
But so it's still kind of all over the place, but you're trying to have a consistent one day. That's cool. You had comedy this weekend? You were with the Reverend Bob Levy, right?
I was with Levy Friday. I was Levy was the headliner, but it was Richie Redding's show. He runs the room. He put me up. A lot of fun. I've been producing Richie's podcast for him for 10 episodes now, and it was like...
Are you raising your hand?
There's a ceiling there that I was stretching.
It blurred out, so it just looks like you're talking.
Wait,
how high are you?
Are you going to call on yourself? What are you doing here?
I'd like to interrupt me.
Um,
You're like, it's Richie Redding's room. No, it's not.
no, it's
like, what
not.
the fuck? It's like, all right.
But so Richie's cool, and he gave me a guest spot and like paid me to do a guest spot as a
He's
way of saying
booking it, or it's his show that night.
he's booking the room. He runs that room. He hosts every show and then brings in headliners, kind of like the Derby room, a little bit, right? Isn't that how you do it?
Well, I
It's
did
like
one
your show.
night.
A weekend though, right? Or you're doing once a month
Like, yeah,
there.
once a month.
Okay, so he's doing I think he's doing once a month there as well.
Oh, so
So
he's
it's
not
like
booking the play. He's booking
it's
a show.
yeah, it's
When
not a
you say
comedy
he's
club.
booking the room, that usually means he's the booker of the club.
Oh, it's not a club.
Well,
That's where I like it's a restaurant where he's doing a monthly
oh, I
show.
thought
It's his
this was
show.
also at the dojo of comedy.
No, this was even further South Jersey.
Oh, it's just some fucking bar.
Yeah. But
Okay.
again, great crowd, a lot
Don't
of
mean it in a
fun.
bad
Yeah.
way, but
No,
it's
no, no,
fun.
no, no. But it's not a comedy club. Yeah, that's where I misunderstood. But on the way down, my car did this fun thing. You ever do this when you're driving and it goes bing, 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 bing? Pull over right now. Your engine's overheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine did that.
Last time I had a car, I did that.
Yeah, it's not fun, is it?
It didn't come back.
Well, I pulled over. I primed a little bit and got to the show. On the way home, put some coolant in. Next day, I have to drive to Shore Beach Lake, Pennsylvania. That's just 3 words they chose out of at random.
Well, it feels like they were like saying, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Lake Beach, Pennsylvania. It's like
Right. Yeah. And
Lake Anna Beach. You sure? Sure. Lake Beach, Pennsylvania.
so I'm like, I got to figure this shit out. But I get to the show. Richie's like, I screwed up because Richie asked me, he's like, how long do you have? And I thought he meant, how long do you want to do tonight? And I knew I was doing a guest spot. So I was like, 10 to 15. Like, what are you thinking? Like, he was putting the show together.
Right, but why would you think that if you're driving this?
Because I had already gotten there.
Oh.
Like, we're already there. He's putting the show together and like getting ready to be like, all right, I'm doing this much, you're doing that much, you're doing that much. So he's like, you got this much to this guy, and he goes to me. He's like, how about you? What do you got? I was like 10 to 15, right? And he's like, all right, yeah, do 10 then. And I was like, oh no, I misunderstood that question. Like I completely poorly misrepresented myself.
What do you think he meant?
How much material do you have?
He would ask that.
Richie doesn't know how long I've been doing comedy.
No,
he only knows me as a producer.
Okay, well that's fair, but like that's also an insane thing to ask before a show because most people would lie. Like that's insane to book someone and then go, how much? What does that even mean? If someone asks me how much material I have, I'd be like, I don't know, 4 hours. Would I say that? That's insane.
So here's what the point I'm trying to convey, and I'm not doing a good job because I'm scatterbrained. But Richie doesn't know how long I've been doing comedy. He's seen me do a guest spot once, or like when he was hosting a show, he's seen like a minute on it. He hasn't seen me.
Oh no, I get that.
I think he was trying to be like, "Are you a open micer? Are you a headliner? What? Like, give me a gauge of how much time you normally do on."
I'm understanding everything you're saying.
Oh,
what I'm saying is that's a dumb question by Richie Redding before a show. Like you have to decide yourself. And if it's insulting to you, say he doesn't know who you are and he goes, hey, all right, so and so, I'm doing this up front. Bobby, do 7, 5 to 7. This guy do this and that. You can come up to him and be like, oh, hey man, I appreciate the time and all that, but I was hoping to do a little more.
Let me get 10 at least, yeah. Or something
but then he can be like, oh, my bad, man. No offense. I've only seen you do like whatever at the 5 to 7. I'll do 10 to 15. Then you'll be fine. Or, hey, dude, appreciate it. I've got other guys in the show going around this time. Do good 5 to 7. I'll throw you 15 next time. But to say how much time you got, dude, in most worlds, you would get 12 people telling you they each had an hour. And then the guy who's good, say 5 minutes when he's got 20. You know what I mean? Because he's like, fuck this show.
That's what I did. Yeah. I was just like, but anyway, the result was he brought me on stage as, this guy's been a friend of mine for a while, but he hasn't been doing comedy too long, and was like trying to set it up nice, but it was just like, oh, this is going to be fun. These people are expecting like a shy timid, and the first thing I did was there was a guy with a hairpiece in the back who was like 65, and I did my typical, oh, give it up one more time, that might be as good as it gets, and they laughed. I went, not you, sir. If I see you laugh one fucking time, I'm coming off the stage and punching you. You've got all the joy you need in life. Look at your fucking head. Nice. And I did my hat thing and just tore into the room. It was awesome. Nice. A lot of fun. Met Tate, very funny comic.
Yeah.
Like, and then Levy was great. So a lot of fun show.
Tate who's been on this show, Tate?
Has he really?
Tate Winston?
No. So, what does he look like?
Redhead guy, him and I argued all fucking time.
No.
That's like Tate. I thought you meant. So you just said Tate. So
I don't remember his last name. The best part though was I went to leave, and
why is this guy black?
no, he's white.
What's his name? Tate what?
I don't remember his last name, Pat.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm not trying not to be rude, and then you just won't let me go. Now it's clear I don't know this guy's last name.
All right, man. I just figured if you were going to tell a story about it, you knew the details. I don't know. It's a very convoluted story. Go ahead. Now you're going to get mad. I don't know how to talk to people, and I've said this.
Wait,
I'm literally asking
story?
questions.
I was telling the story.
You're talking about your whole show.
So I went out real quick. I went to leave, and I said like all my goodbyes. Levy was about to go on stage. I was like, hey, I won't. I'm probably gonna get out of here. We crossed paths, and he was like, you smell like weed. I was like, you also. What are we thinking here? And we went and just smoked a big joint and came back in giggling together. And both Richie and Bob were like, weren't you guys leaving? We were like, yeah, but then we got high. And that was the story.
Nice. Yeah, Bob gets high a lot on the MLC show. But usually it's like edibles and things, I think.
Bob killed. He did his thing.
He's been doing it forever. He should. He always should kill.
That's he did his thing. He always has done lately though, where he's like, it's just been my eyes are tired. I'm not really feeling it. Then he walked up on stage and was like, "What's a guy got to do to get a fucking shot in this town?" And they all went nuts. It was amazing. How was your Friday?
Drinking?
Levy?
No, that's what you meant. Like you said, shot. Like I don't know why. I thought he was trying to do some kind of weird COVID bit or something like that. Like, wants to get a shot in this town because they're all cretins, and he's like, "Who has to get a fucking vaccine in this town?"
How was your Friday? Before I ramble about the rest of my Saturday.
Well, you can go into your Saturday because I didn't do anything Friday. So
oh, okay. And then Saturday, I was like, I got to get this car fixed. Went to Valvoline, and they just did not know what was going on. And I had to be like, well, can we check the coolant level maybe? Like, you shouldn't have to be the mechanic. There was one mechanic in the place. It was a Hispanic woman, and she was on the other guy's car. And I was like, maybe we could. Mamacita, por favor. But then I took Gino. It's a Carucci gig. So it's either going to be what? Amazing or a bar where nobody knew there was going to be comedy. And you're going to have a great time at either one. But we're driving. We get off the only major highway we were on 30 minutes into our hour-and-a-half long trip. And then we just take back roads, Pat, the whole way. And I'm going, oh, this is going to be my type of people. And Gino's going, oh, boy, when I tell this one joke, they're going to laugh for the wrong reasons. And I went, yep. And there were applause breaks for Gino, Pat. He would say things like, and I can't believe they fired Tucker. And then that was the setup for the joke that was about to come, but they just thought that was a point he was making. It was almost like a rally. He did so well. But Rich is there. We get there 20 minutes late on purpose. Rich has been on stage for 30 and is just going table to table at this sold out 300-person show doing crowd work. I knew Seth, the other comedian who was on the show with us, because he had just done my weed show. Like a friend of a friend went over and was like, how's it going? He's like, not well, buddy. I'm going to bomb my ass off in front of these people. And he did, because he used the stage and they weren't ready for that.
Was the first guy started the show with 30?
It was Rich Carucci.
No, I know, but I'm saying like,
oh yeah,
it's a cold 30 with crowd work. Okay,
well, it's important to note that in addition to Rich, Seth also had to bring Otto and George's former coke dealer, and that perhaps Rich had been motivated by non-comedic means to do an amount of time he wasn't planning on.
Oh, okay, but why was the coke dealer on the show? Why did he have to be brought?
Just felt like going to Beach Lake Shore, Pennsylvania.
Oh, so he didn't have to bring that guy. He brought that guy.
Yeah, no, Rich brought that guy, but the comedian was just like, oh yeah, I'll drive. He's new to the area. He doesn't know Carucci. And was like, yeah, Rich, I'll drive you to the gig. Sure, yeah, we can bring your friends. And then was like, what did I get myself into?
That's a weird thing to be introduced as, the coke dealer to a puppet.
Yeah.
Because you did say he's Otto and George's coke dealer. I think he only dealt to one of them.
No, I don't think. I think you're wrong. No, Otto owes you $50K. Huh? George is straight.
George can't snort. Like, it's not good. But yeah, it sounds like you had some fun shows. Then you had to travel around today. It was, I don't know about where you were, but it's been shitty weather all weekend, cold and rainy around here.
Here it's like literally God sending a flood to make up for all the bad we've done.
Well, that's just the new money Puerto Ricans in your apartment. What about the weather?
No, literally, it's that's why it's flooding. Like they shut down. I was taking Roy back to Long Island, and the time jumped an hour because they shut down major roads because they're flooded. Roads that never flood are flooded. It's not good. But just real quick, last night, so then I go on stage, and Gino's great to work with. He's like, hey, if they're not feeling it, feel free to, cut it short. You don't have to do your full 30 if you're really eating it, which is a nice out. And I was like, no, I'm going to fight for my 30. And boy, was it a dogfight. But by the end, I got him. And then, my Jamaica joke in the second tag that never gets a laugh because it's about domestic. Yeah. I just smiled and went, I'm doing this part for me. I know none of you are going to laugh, but you made me work for it tonight. So sit there and enjoy it. And the one woman who hadn't laughed all night laughed harder than she added anything at the punchline. I was like, all right, you earned it. Good night. But it was just like, it felt really good because it's, again, I'm doing the same gigs I was doing a year ago. So I have to focus on, like, how am I growing on stage? Because the gigs aren't getting better. So I have to make sure I am to deserve it when those opportunities come. So that's my long ranting in a nutshell. How was your
Nice.
dog shit weather?
Well, the first, I think that you might be one of the only people ever on the internet to say, you know how Gino's easy to work with. I don't think I don't. If anything, I've been watching or any clips I've seen, and I know you guys are friends. I'm not shitting on Gino, but it's like that is not the reputation of a one Gino Visconti of easy to work with. Several people have tried to punch him in the head. I mean, people have left shows. People have run away from everything.
Very, very
Relationship fair. People are like, everyone's talking this week about how he only lasts 15 seconds in bed. They won't even work with his penis, and you're like, a joy. What a joy to work with.
Very, very fair point. I get what you're saying. That said, I think if you ask people about stand up in particular, they would tell you, oh, Gino just loves doing stand up.
I think if you ask people who were able to get stage time because Gino got it for them, they would say that. But if you ask bookers who are like, this maniac, no. So, and I'm not asking you to say anything. You have I'm not arguing. I'm just saying if someone Googled Gino Piscante, easy to work with hashtag, we would be the only podcast with that hashtag. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, I got to thumb through all this shit.
I think we found our niche, buddy.
It would say easy and work with instead. It's like, oh, yeah. It's just, we don't put the whole word. It's fine. But I'm glad that you worked with a lot of combustible people and you came out okay. Because it sounds like you worked with a lot of powder kegs this weekend. And that can be tough as you want to just do your act. As you know, all these people might just go on a podcast in their little Zoom box 3 days later and go, fuck that little man. He stinks. You're like, why? I didn't do anything wrong. Why? Super chats. That's why. So, like,
I had a moment of clarity, and I want to thank God for granting me this moment of it. But no, in all reality, like,
thank him.
That was a Jay-Z joke.
Oh, I wanted you to do a prayer.
Oh no, I'm not gonna pray on the pod, but I do thank God for the opportunities He's given me, absolutely. But I just want to do stand-up comedy, like, just do stand-up. I just want to get on a stage. That's where I feel happy. I think you're the same way. You enjoy doing this. This, like I told you right before we started, when you were like, "Hey, you seem a little stressed. Do you want to pass?" I was like, "No, this is the part I look forward to." But like, so many people lose sight of that being the goal. Like, was your goal to make money on YouTube, or was it to do stand up? And if it's just to make money entertaining people, then great. Like Steel Toe, for example. They are a show that people enjoy watching, that they entertain, and they make a good money. Good for them. It's a great show. If you enjoy it, great. I'm happy for you. You know what I mean? I like to do something different here. We like to try to be fun and silly, but like,
is he a stand-up, the guy, Aaron?
He was at some points, and I don't know if he still is doing it.
I don't know anything about that.
Like, I've never seen his stand-up. I recently was encouraged to check out his show again, and it's a very solid show. It's not what I'm looking for. It's not what you like, but it's a great show if that's what you're looking for. So, but the point being, like, who cares? Just be happy. Like you said, you could be back at Big Lots, being a manager. And I
No,
know,
they fired me.
right?
I cannot.
You thank God, Bobby. I curse him every day for that firing. That I'm stuck with you after all these years. But no, you get what I'm saying. Like, I just want to do stand up, and I'm trying to focus on that. Everybody made a whole joke about like money and how much Gavin thought people would get paid for comedy, and it's like I found that out, and then found I know how much Earl makes some weekends, and it's like, oh, turns out you can make a good living entertaining people if nobody even knows your name.
Well, yes, and if you want to get into that part for a second, but that's the part where the work is really being the hardest thing I think for a comic to do is not to build a set, not to figure who they are on stage, is to try to balance the part. Listen, if you're gifted enough where you're that 1% of the comedy world where you can get management and agents and people representing you, that's wonderful. You can just work on your craft and someone's selling you. That's amazing. And now, this day and age, you also get good enough where someone's like, we're also going to put you in an opportunity where there are the best producers or engineers and this and that, whatever, and all that stuff for podcasting or whatever online presence you're going to do. Once again, you're just working on the funny part. Someone's taking care of all that shit. But that's not most of the world. Most of the world that's trying to get through this is trying to figure out this part. But the comedy's the easy part, what they wanted to do. It's the comics who are the older guys who have realized they're not going to be the, I made it bullshit line that people think there's a certain thing. But that if like an Earl David Reed or guys I know in Connecticut like Dave Riley or certain people like that who have
Even Bob
decided
Marley to some extent.
no, and I'll tell you why in a second because I'm going in a different direction. Bob Marley could be all those things because Bob Marley's talent isn't that 1%. And I'm not shitting on Earl or anyone else, but Bob Marley, if people that have seen Bob will say that's one of the best. It's the same way when people talk about Greer Barnes and they're like, some people just don't want to be around the country. Greer Barnes would rather be in New York all the time. And he's done some things that you might not even know with the writing and things like that nature, and he can make a living and do great. Ted Alexandro. There are certain comedians who are just beasts, but don't want to live that life of the road, traveling, all that stuff. And it's not that they couldn't, because Alexandro was opening for Gaffigan. Greer could open for any that you named. He wrote for Chappelle and stuff. Could open for anybody. Marley is friends with all these guys there. I'm talking about
Quinn, even, yeah.
Right. But I'm talking about the guys like an Earl David Reed that have had to become their own management system. And therefore, what they've done is kept the old school thing of building this incredible email/contact list and also built this thing where in their area, they've convinced restaurants, venues, charities, all this, that they are the only way to bring comedy to their area. It's almost in a cult type thing where they're like, other people are like, you ask somebody who goes to Earl David Reed shows who's the funniest comic in Pennsylvania, and they're going to say, oh my God, obviously Earl David Reed, he's the best. But then you ask comics who go to fans that go to comedy clubs like Comedy Zone and places like that, they probably wouldn't even think of Earl David Reed because he doesn't work those places because he doesn't need to because he's become his own traveling circus. And that's the hardest thing there. If you can figure that out, but nowadays, it's the older guys who have that lock on it and that email list because they have the older following that still listens to that. But the younger kids can't do it because the people their age aren't going to be doing that same thing, going through the email list, making the plan once a month to go to this thing. They're going to try new things, different things. They got to take videos of them being a foodie somewhere and somewhere where they're putting on dumb clogs and all their horse shit young people do. So it can't be that anymore. So I give them credit to those type of guys. They're not the ones that are up there, but they've made sure in a small little area that they're the thing that everyone knows. You know what I mean? But their fans absolutely don't know anybody else. Their fans just know their fans. Who's the best comic you know? Earl David Reed. Who's the second best comic you know? Bobby Tamburo. Why? Because he's the guy who comes with Earl David Reed. Like, they don't know anybody. Like, AJ from Chaz and AJ works with this guy, Dave Riley. Dave Riley has a mailing list where he can walk in and go, oh, we're doing a fundraiser for, I'm not making up numbers. I don't know his numbers, but like Earl can walk in and go, yeah, we put on this whole thing. We have the stage. We have the this, that. You guys sell the tickets and do this and that, whatever. We bring the talent, my name, the radio presence, all this stuff helps sell this thing. It helps you with your tickets and sells that. And for me to bring in all my equipment and my acts and everything I do here and all that, you give me $3,000. And they're like, but you sell tickets at $30, $50, whatever it is, for the food and the show and all that. And you're raising all this money for your fundraiser. We'll do the raffle, we'll do all that shit. And then they take a couple, 1,500 of it at least, throw it in their pocket, give you like 200, another guy 150, and then donate the rest back to the thing or for advertising or whatever, and make cake each time they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The only one thing I'll say you got wrong is people at the Comedy Zone would be like, "Oh, you mean that guy on the wall?" If you asked him who Earl was, that was just a joke.
I got what you're saying, but like what I'm saying is they wouldn't name him first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you looked around the wall, they would go, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy," because he's also on the wall at City Steve, but no one's naming him. Because there was a time where he was doing that stuff, but he's built this other thing where he's almost doesn't need.
Absolutely,
he doesn't need bookers or clubs anymore.
100%. And what he's done is he stayed true to his goal, which is making a living doing stand-up. And I think like what the point I was making, and you've helped me clarify a little bit, is like so many people like a podcast. Why are you doing a podcast?
Because
in theory.
No, because some of my thoughts don't work on stage.
Okay, that's a great idea. And a lot of people are doing it for that. I think this helps work out ideas on stage too. I think it's a great practice, but I think the end goal for a lot of people who do podcasts is to get people to come see their stand-up.
I've been doing this since with the Brandon, the first iterations before that was the thing. I literally did it because there was times where like during the day running Joker's Wild, I needed a break and we had equipment and Brandon would show up and I wanted to talk about shit. Amazing. I couldn't talk on stage, so that was why we did it. Pat Oates is sad because I was sad.
That came across as an interview question. It was more of like a collective view. Like I think the model for a lot of people is, I do this podcast, it'll get fans, and then I've created.
No, I know what you're saying, but like for me, it literally
you personally, yeah. And I'm doing this because I enjoy talking to you. I think podcasting's great. I grew up a radio fan, and radio's kind of dead, so this is the best avenue. But you know what I mean? I want to do stand-up. You want to do stand-up. We hope this funnels people to our stand-up, as opposed to.
See, I don't feel that way. That's why I said what I said. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't look at this as my stand-up.
No,
I know a lot of people do. I don't look at it as I really don't take anything from this and do it on stage. That's not what I meant. Like getting fans from your podcast is how. I don't care. I don't look at the two of them. I know what you're saying. Right. I do understand words.
Okay.
And you keep saying that at the end. What I'm telling you is I don't look at it that way. It's just a counterpoint to what you're saying. I know a lot of people do. I don't think about the 30 people that are watching this are from all over the place. I don't perform most of the places they're from. I don't think of them coming to my shows. I don't even think about that. We say the plugs at the end, and that's great. But I say, as you notice lately, I'm saying more. You can hear me on radio here or hear my album if you want to listen to something. But the people that listen to shit and watch shit really don't go out to shit unless you're a monster name. They don't. The people that sit behind computers don't really go out on a Saturday night. They kind of just watch Netflix on a Saturday. So I don't look at them that way, but that's just me.
Okay. I understand your point. I think what I was trying to say, though, is a lot of comedians do their podcast to try to get fans of their stand-up, and then they get so caught up in doing a podcast that they forget the goal was to do stand-up. That's the only point I was just trying to get across there.
But like what?
Like so many people
level?
get stuck
like a smaller level? Like, because the big name ones are doing it because they kind of have to. But like, no, I'm just asking the question. Like,
even these guys who blew up over the break. You want examples? Tim Dillon. His stand-up now is not what it was before he started throwing all of his energy into podcasting. Like, it is not the same level of edginess. It wasn't the same level of jokes per minute. And he's very funny still. It's the same. But a lot of guys you see start putting a ton of effort into this other avenue, which is just not literally being on stage with a microphone. Or get worried about, or all of a sudden now my thing is I dress up as Trump and walk around Times Square and yell at people. And it gets views, and then I'm still like, I think a lot of people start finding success in things that aren't the stand-up and forget to try to bring it back to the stand-up.
I guess like, I know what you're saying. I'm just like thinking like someone like Tim Dillon. I think he became a monster stand-up by mistake. I think he was somebody that, like you said, wasn't really a comic, was was literally on New York City double-decker tour buses, just trying to be this entertaining thing. He's this loud thing with thoughts or whatever. And they're like, wow, he could do stand-up, and he did it. But I think he's always wanted to be a personality that used stand-up to get where he is. So I think he's actually doing, in many interviews and podcasts, he's said before, like, he's almost just trying to be new Hollywood. That was kind of always the goal more than be that. But I know what you're saying in certain ways, like guys do that. But I think the really, really good thing, the best, if you had to name your Mount Rushmores of stand up, most of them don't really have a podcast. And if they do, they're kind of just like the Ronald McDonald to it as everyone else is doing the thing. And it's kind of just like they're there. The guys that become very popular, people have put on a pedestal that way. But I wouldn't consider Tony Hinchcliffe a great stand up comedian. But he's got so popular that people know him as a lot of the Rogan people I wouldn't consider a great stand-up comedian, but because of their podcasting, people have elevated them. But I think Louis C.K. is not worried about a podcast. Dave Chappelle's not worried about a podcast. That's what I'm saying. So I think those guys are still there. I think that what sucks is people have elevated people doing one thing in another form, and we've all just bought into it.
And I think we're talking different stages of success too. I'm talking more people climbing the mountain, if that makes any sense.
Right, but you named Tim Dillon, so I went.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Tim's an interesting example, like, because before the pandemic, he was just starting to blow up, but like 2 years before that, he wasn't nearly as big. You know what I mean? So, like, his success was almost instantaneous.
He was blowing up in the world of that New York podcast scene because him and Nick Mullen and those guys were becoming that wild guest that would be on everybody's shows. And then he went and did his own thing. And then Rogan fell in love with him. And then that was boom. It was like, that was it. Once Rogan gives you the fucking kiss, then you're fucking all good. I mean, so
kiss of death.
I don't think it's death. I think it's goodness. As much as Shane Gillis blew up as a stand-up, Shane doesn't treat his podcast like it's anything good. You're staring at him and his friend on a couch with a terrible angle, and they just talked to Lemaire about picking his nose. Like,
exactly. But my point is, then he's doing stand-up.
Right.
Like,
that's
Shane
what I'm saying.
Killing on stage.
But so is Matt. Like, that's the funny thing.
Oh, and Matt too. Yeah.
Matt's still using it to go, oh, finally I can just be on this, but now I can headline when I want to. So those guys, like I said, they're just a front for this thing they know they have to do because they need something to plug on the other guys' places when they're doing the 2023 version of the Johnny Carson dates. You know what I mean? Like, they're going around and doing that. I think young comics, guys who were 2 to like 7 years in, who aren't in clubs or starting to get in clubs, but not like, there's no manager there, there's a day job still, or maybe not anymore. They're just starting to fight through there. Those guys are so confused with what they're supposed to do because they see Theo Vaughn does arenas. They're like, well, I need a podcast. I also need stand-up. I need this. I need that. All these things are needed together. Now, they need a social media presence, but it doesn't have to be that thing. I think those people are losing their focus because they're trying to do too much. And they haven't built the set and built the stand-up and separated church and state. That, I think that's where the comedy's getting poor, is on that earlier end where people are just trying to do everything when they really don't even have time with their real jobs or their families or the things that's keeping them afloat still need them, where they're just getting divorced because they're trying to do a podcast in their basement. They're trying to make sketches and they're trying to fucking do stand-up 5 times a week when they're making $20 off all that combined.
I couldn't find the mute button. Jesus Christ. And then what ultimately ends up suffering is the stand-up because it's easier to get instantaneous success and gratification from a 5-second reel on Instagram.
By the way, if anyone wants to cut a clip to really prove, just to say like, hey, Bobby hates when Pat talks. I know it's out of context, but am I finished my talk and you go, I couldn't find the mute button, Jesus Christ, that would be the perfect. Like, I just thought, and you're like, I was trying to shut you the fuck up, but I could not.
I'm Crowder now. I have a stop talking, Pat. Like,
yep. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we have to let people know that you did tell me that you own me now, and also, by the way,
your agent's now negotiating on my behalf.
Right, but you know what? Sometimes when you run away from one situation to another one, you should look to see where you're running to. Sometimes that's all I'm fucking saying.
Yeah, that's that Conton. Yeah. I'm the Kierkegaard, leap without a net.
The only thing I'm mad about is now my asterisk is gone. Who was on the Kumia's show the last time Dave Landau was on? Now it's not
No,
me anymore. He was
in
back
person?
on. I wasn't in person that day.
Nah.
No, I was here in the Pat Oates studios in duplex, whatever the fuck it is. Um,
I'm pretty sure you're in the house from up.
I was, but that's also the house from here. Now it's known as the house from down. It is hell, but it's a lovely hell. It's nice. Hey, let's play a game. Ready?
Oh boy.
Okay. Two truths and a lie. I was at a radio appearance. I had to be at a daffodil festival in Connecticut during all the rain. I saw possibly three different types of person. Okay. I'm going to name these three
I'm
types of
pretty
person.
sure there are only two.
No, not gender, doing something. I'm going to name three types of people. One of them, I'm lying. I did not see. Two, I did. Ready? Did I see a man breathing fire? Did I see a man on stilts? Or did I see a midget driving a race car?
The lie was that one of those were a lie. I think you saw all three of those things.
Nope, I did not. I played this thing with my daughter, and she had the same answer. One of them is actually a lie. I did not see while being in a tent talking to white trash at a daffodil festival. I mean,
you're in a good mood, but I feel like you would be in a much better mood had you seen a midget drive a race car.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. I just think if I go midget, people are going to think I saw a midget. So it's fine. Yes, I saw a man breathing fire while it was raining to an audience of 18 people on these weird stands they built outside behind a changing room for a community pool. But the pool was empty in this festival. And the guy, and my buddy Dion walks over with me and goes, all you can see was the guy and then like the stanchions. And he goes, there's like 18 people. He goes, this feels like Shamu's going to jump out of this guy's mouth. Like the way they were set up and sitting there like cheering. The guy takes a gallon of whatever, flame juice they use, I guess, chugs the entire fucking thing as I look there. And then takes the torch and then just starts doing like crowd work. And I guess I missed the part where he taught them catchphrases because they'd be like, 1, 2, flame out my butt, whatever the fuck. I don't know what it was, but it was some shit. And then he just goes, and he blows it. And this black kid walks by and goes, yo, that N-word shooting fire. Not that he's breathing it, he was shooting it. And I was like, you're right, 12-year-old boy. That N-word is doing that.
Hey, you want to be on the radio and yell that?
I wish. And then I saw a guy dressed like a jester on stilts just walking around. And he walked by our tent a couple of times, and somebody from the festival, like the Daffodil Foundation, I don't know what the fuck it was, some dork that works the park, walked by and said, oh, what do you guys got here? Like, we were giving away pins and stuff. And I said, how much it costs to get a stilts guy? I wonder what the rate is. And I was even like making a joke, like just the people sitting there. I'm like, I go, imagine being a stilts guy and didn't get hired for it. Like that, as comics, sometimes we're like, why'd they book that guy and not me? But like, if you're a stilts guy and you're not getting stilts work, there can't be that many dudes, especially in Connecticut, in that area. That must suck. Like that, someone on the board had to know a stilts guy, and then go, yeah, I got a guy, and then contact him and make sure he was available to do his stilts thing, which is just walk around on stilts. It's not really
damn it, Sharon! I told you I need the 9-footers.
Yeah, and he was super up there. So I don't know. And then my buddy Dion was like, how did they get down? I'm like, I'm hoping just like 9/11. I'm hoping it's just like, like they just drop. But I don't know. They must have a guy, maybe someone else that helps. I don't know. But I said, how much does that cost? And the guy goes, you know what's hilarious? We didn't hire him. He's just doing it. That guy was just walking around the rain in a festival on stilts in a jester costume for the love of the game.
Yeah, at what point do you have to call security and go, dude, I think there's a child molester here?
But he can't reach children because he's on stilts, so you let it go.
I'm a giant. Make the giant cry.
Make the giant grow. climb my beanstalk.
Yeah, there's so many bad things that happen with a
Yeah,
name.
yeah. But the best part is it's raining, it's bad. It's not like there's a bunch of kids walking around loose anyway. Because it's not like a great day. You're not gonna drop your kids off there.
I had to think. I was a little too high and really had to put that there aren't too many kids walking around loose into
Yeah.
context.
Well, I meant it in both ways, but anyway, some tight ass kids walking around. Back in my day, these kids were whores. But
These
now
promiscuous kids.
these kids with their morals and their
The
tight butts.
goddamn daffodil festival, just asking for it.
So this, by the way, the daffodils I found out go out of season a week before the festival.
Oh, so it's like a goodbye to the daffodils.
I guessed it, but there was barely any daffodils.
And a goodbye to the kids' innocence if they
right.
hang out with the
But
jester.
kids weren't following this guy around. He was just walking around where the fried dough was.
Just like he was just the most food efficient way.
But he can't get in the tent to get the food. The big food tent, he can't get in.
Pardon me, could you grab me a fried dough?
They had spiral chips with melted cheese on it. I know because this fat lady goes, they got spiral chips with melted cheese on it. Just screaming and running by.
There's 18 people here, ma'am. You can use your indoor voice.
I had a guy come up to me and go, hey, are you Chaz? And I was like, no. And he goes,
I'm your Huckleberry.
He goes, are you AJ? And I was like, no. He goes, which one are you then? And I went, I'm the and.
I knew that was going to be your line. I almost said it.
Oh, and he goes, ooh, I like you. And then he goes, can we take a picture of me and my family? All right. So this drunk guy is beautiful wife. And this little child, like 3-year-old toddler, come over to take a picture. And the child, I said, oh, get ready to smile or whatever. And the child goes, I hear your voice on the radio when I try to fall asleep. My mommy drives around. And I was like, oh, you must go in the morning. She goes, yeah, I've heard your voice, but I'm the thing that puts her to sleep.
That's nice. I once wrote a passive aggressive review on Amazon about that, where it's like, this is a great show to fall asleep to. Is that a compliment? I don't know. Your voice, it is. It means you have a soothing voice, but if it's a TV show, it means you're not entertained.
No, I don't think it. Believe me, from the festival, I had to do like a story on Instagram, and it's not just my voice that bothers people now. Now I'm in this stage right now on the radio where people are like, we love Pat. Like, at first when I was a guest, they're like, oh, but now they like me a lot. But there are some people that aren't happy that I exist because I'm doing things. So, like today, there's a video put up on their Instagram, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, you were fun there." Or, "I'll hear you on the radio today." And one guy writes, "There's no more face for radio than this guy." I'm like, "All right, I guess I'm not gonna fuck you then, dude." Like, you know what I mean? Like what the? And I can't write anything. I gotta okay. It's like, yeah, but just like that guy sitting at home, he's like stilts guy. He's just like, no one's paying you, just getting on there like. I better be mean to this guy. Like, what? What? First of all, it's weird that you're looking at me and going, I wish he was attractive.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, right?
Real weird.
That's fucked up. I miss the old days where you could just be like, yeah, we're at the 888 building. I'm off at 11. I'll meet you in the parking lot.
Yeah, I had to do that. And then Tuesday, I had to do a college fair. 185 college at an amphitheater. By the way, this amphitheater in Bridgeport is a really nice, like outdoor amphitheater. And Kevin Hart's going to be the first comedian. They can hold 6,500.
Doesn't sound like that was true to me. It sounds like the first comedian to perform there was Pat Oates.
Oh, I did not perform. I'll tell you in a second how I was all bougie as shit. But the Kevin Hart's going to perform there. Literally, the amphitheater's right there, and right behind the stage you're on is the train that runs to Grand Central.
That's awesome.
And I was like asking, I'm like, well, how's that going to work? And they're like, I guess there's a lot of concern. When Kevin Hart's going to be here, he'll be the first guy they tested out to with comedians. I think he can handle it. So they're sending him the train schedule. So in his performance, the train will only go by twice from that. So he knows the exact time it's supposed to go. It will work his act around. I'm like, yo, that's bananas. Like Kevin Hart's already got to work. be in front of 6,500 people and then write a bit or work out of things to deal with trains. Like the amount of money he must be getting must be insane. They go, yeah,
God,
I'll work out the trains.
I hope he does the same jokes Gino did when the trains went behind him in Soul Joel's, and we just hear Kevin Hart went really anti-Semitic at the.
You know who else likes trains?
Yeah, they're going on time.
Uh, but yeah, so it was kind of cool to see that. But yeah, we had 185 colleges. The amphitheater obviously has the stadium seating and everything. So everyone, when I get there, all the street team people, there's 3 different stations there, but I'm the only one that's. I'm not really there to be like a personality. I'm literally there to just make 2 announcements an hour for 3 hours. Like, welcome to the Southern Connecticut College and Career Fair. Please check out these things. And I would do that twice an hour and then just sit there and drink coffee and eat free food. And then, but everyone's like at the tables and all that. They set up so like the second like balcony part, a tier where you can sit. It's just me, a sound guy, and 2 like executives, and everyone else is down. So me and the sound guy were pretending like we were like Roman emperors. We would just look at people and go, because we were just like up on this thing like for no reason. And then I kept having sales guys go, "Do you think it's time to make an announcement again?" And I'm like, "Sure, dude." So I'm like, "All right, turn it on." Now you know sound better than most, so you'll understand this better than most. But I don't really know sound at all. But I still understood this. We are outside an amphitheater, a cement building, all the hard floor, all that. There's a stage. We're not on the stage. Where the floor seating would be is where all the tables are, right? So there's some pillars around the backside of it, and they've put 4 or 5 speakers, half like a semicircle surrounding. So even though I'm speaking from a place behind that area, the people that are at the tables should be able to hear my voice, even though I won't really hear the best version of it. People at the front door coming in won't hear it. You have to be in the circle of sound to hear it. But even that, it's a ceiling that is not a ceiling. It's a half partial amphitheater ceiling. So sound is rising, but there's also no real thing to deflect off it. So depending on where you are, it's going to sound like I'm echoey no matter what. It's going to sound muffled at certain times, even if I speak clearly as hell. I'm basically there as a PA announcement. That's all it really is. But every time I would speak, the sales guy would walk over and go, "That didn't really sound clear to me." And I go, "All right." And then he'd be like, "What are you going to do?" I go, "Nothing." They're like, "Well, no, you got to fix it." I go, "I don't fix sound." It's like, you're also standing over there. Did you see any of the people at the 185 tables with all the hundreds of college kids that are here turn and go, "What?" No, not one of them did that. A, because they don't care, because I'm saying something they already know. I'm telling them to enjoy the fair and to go to tables. They're here with their families. I'm watching moms yell at kids, "I can't believe you're going to that school. I can't believe you wore this to the thing. You're not going to go to school. You're dumb." They're already having the worst day ever. And there's already people just trying to sell from a pizza truck and a crazy donut truck. There's vending trucks at this thing. Nobody gives a shit. I'm just making money for no fucking reason, not a lot, but they'd be paid to be the guy who talks. And I even talked to another guy who's full time now, and he goes, "Man, am I happy you're that guy now? Because I was that for the last 3 years."
That's It is a tough gig, but
it was the easiest gig.
It
was nothing. It was like I just sit with them. I mean, that's the one part. Like I am actually sitting there going, "Why am I a thing?" Like I understand that because I'm a quote unquote radio personality and also a comedian, so therefore I'm used to talking on microphones. It's not even a thing where I'm in front of people. I'm up high behind it. No one can even see it's me. So like literally the sales guy could do it if he could just read and talk. Not that he would have him do it, but it's like the fact that they're paying a guy to come in and do that. It's just like, "Oh yeah, I work for this kind of thing." So when people say radio is dead, I'm like, they still are making money.
The tough part though is not entertaining yourself. Like making your own announcements up. Like IBM says they've hit their quota of Chinese, but we could use some more blacks in any of those trans thingies. That's IBM. No more Chinese.
And I know what you're saying, but like I also enjoyed more sitting next to like some of the executive guys who were cool dudes, whatever, or like other people that were like kind of salespeople that would walk by, and right before I would grab the mic, I would say something silly and off color to them where they thought I was now going to say it on there. And then watching them be nervous as I just read fine. And then go like, yeah, well, I'm not dumb. Like, I know my audience. College
Yeah.
kids don't take my humor. So, but it was just fun doing that kind of radio thing because I did 2 appearances this week. I was on the air twice with Chaz and AJ, and then I was on yet what's today? Sunday. Today I was on this morning on my own shift doing 52 years in your ears. We are celebrating 52 years of being Connecticut's #1 classic rock station by playing music to your ears. Where else does it fucking go? They love rhyming. But what we did was at the beginning of every hour, we'd play 4 songs from one particular year. So like it would start like 1981, and then there'd be 4 songs from 1981. I had to do two breaks in between. One of the breaks, it would just be like a 10-second while overlapping music, and I would be like, I said one like for I think 1981, I was like, in sports, there's a lot of tough guys in sports in 1981. Oakland Raiders won the Super Bowl. George Steinbrenner got in a fight with 2 guys in an elevator, and boxer Michael Spinks got mugged and people stole his gold teeth. And I just hit music like that. That was my 1981. And then for the longer break, the minute one I could do, instead of looking up music and stuff, I found like weird news of the world from that year. And there was one from like, I would say 1999 in Newark, New Jersey. 100 goats escaped from somewhere and took over like this dock district, whatever, like this shipping merchant district. They were headbutting people. They were eating all the awnings. They were chewing through clotheslines. They had to get police, dog catchers, detectives with lassos. They got like Humane Society people. They only caught 9 of the 100 goats. So
those other 91 goats earned their freedom.
I said those other 91 were the actual goats of 1981.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it was like, and people would message me on the thing going, dude, this is wild that this is what you're like, yeah, this is what I am. So when you're saying the part about, can you have fun? I can't do it at the college fair, but in my breaks where I know people are starting to listen now, whatever, it's just like, yeah, as long as I don't swear or be dumb, instead of like, hey, 1981, Def Leppard was on fire. It's like, I don't care. Instead, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, did you hear about the guys who robbed the Pizza Hut? And that was a story from a different year. 2 guys robbed the Pizza Hut in Chicago, and there was a time delay on the safe. And so it was waiting for a while, and then they were like, there was a lot of hostages. They couldn't keep control, so they were going to let one person go. And he said to the guy, hey, man, we're letting you go. Just don't tell the cops. Dude, he walked outside and called the cops. Like the second the guy got outside, called the cops. Minutes later, they're coming. So the 2 guys tell everyone, we're putting you in the bathroom and tying you up there. Now, you guys don't say anything. We're going to tie ourselves up and say we're hostages too. So the cops walk in, and the hostages in the bathroom go, yeah, it's those 2 guys. They tied themselves up. Hey, what are you going to get from a Pizza Hut? Like, how much cash is it? Even in like early 2000, how much money's in a fucking Pizza Hut?
Not a well thought out plan.
No, but it was fun to take my POS skills
and apply it in that
and apply it to this thing here. So I had fun in the morning. So it was a good time. I had did a show at Stress Factory. Thank you to Vinny Brand for having us. We had a decent turnout on a Thursday, 50 people coming out.
That's awesome on a Thursday.
But out of the 50, I would say 40 to 45 were Chaz and AJ PLR fans. So it was the tribe, as they call themselves, coming out in full force. It was like we were celebrities. Me and AJ got out of the truck, and a couple that were paying their meter were like, oh my God, can we get a picture? At the meter, we're getting a picture.
That's so cool.
AJ goes, as we're getting out, I go, we should wait in here. I'm sure those 2 people will know who you are, because he's known. I wouldn't be known. And I'm like, so we should probably just wait a minute and then go. He's like, oh, they're not going to know me. I go, they're older white people in Bridgeport. They're only here for us.
They're gonna know you.
There's no other reason for them to be in this bad part of the city.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now. Like if they're here, they're gonna know who. And
then they knew right away. But it was cool, and like a half hour of taking pictures afterwards. That's not usually my normal thing, but it was cool. We got some young comics, two young comics that I like a lot. work there, and then Vinny was supposed to come host, but I guess he couldn't make it down. So I'm guessing if we had more than 50, he would have come down. But anyway, but he stayed in Jersey and performed there. So two of the young comics let them each do 10 minutes each. And then comic we've had on here, Chris Warren before. He was there. He had a show canceled somewhere else. So he stopped by to watch. I'm like, you want to do 10? Because AJ was only going to do 15. So I'm like, each of them do 10. AJ does 15. And then I did an hour. And it was just like fun. And I did some of the old album, but I have new stuff I put right in the middle. I've been doing this thing where I'm doing uncensored dumbass news, the stories that we do on the radio show. So I was telling all the fans were like, I'm usually told I can't swear. Now I can. Now I can do my take on this. And it went really well. It was a lot of fun. And I guess that Vinny enjoyed it so much that he's going to let me and AJ do a weekend there soon. So
that's amazing, cool. Dude. Congratulations.
So the radio thing's balancing with the other thing, whatever. It's helping one to do the other. But I'm just, when I'm on radio, I do radio. When I'm on stage, I do stage. I like doing the radio thing. It'd be nice if one day when I'm already super old, I could have a full-time radio thing, so maybe I could not have to hope the young guy books me for the spaghetti dinner when I'm 60. But at the same time, comedy's the only thing I really love doing, but I am starting to love also being on the radio, but I don't know if it's going to become much more than what it is, but at least I'm enjoying all the dumb shit. I'm getting to see people on stilts. That's something I never thought would happen, so I'm making it big.
You're fascinated by things of either really big size or really small size.
Yeah.
Midgets and stilts.
These are a few of my favorite things.
That's your end game here.
Yeah.
Manufacturing midgets for stilts or stilts for midgets.
And new money Puerto Ricans. I do want to know what they're like. But I'm fascinated.
Dibs.
I'm still.
Oh, yeah. You can watch
your people.
No, I'm saying, Pat, this is a business for you. You make stilts for midgets.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen how my business plans work. They won't get made.
I don't know if you heard the idea of stilts for midgets. It's not going to happen.
No, it's the most brilliant thing, and I don't know why it hasn't been done, but I'm not the man to make it happen.
It's so hard
because if anyone's going to buy them, because they're not even really stilts, they're just pogo sticks, because they're midgets. They don't have to be that tall.
The issue, though, I think, is those big-ass donks.
No, they're just stilts. They're not built together.
No, the butts.
Right. But the stilts are like crutches. They're not connected, so you can put anything in between.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's like a ladder without the rungs.
Yeah.
And you're just stepping on a little side thing. So you can have as much room for fat ass as you want.
Oh, right. But balancing front to back.
Oh, we just put sandbags.
Sandbag. And I like it. I'm gonna contact. We're gonna
have to put a belt on them anyway because they're short and wobbly and they're gonna teeter. So you put like a bungee type thing they get into. You strap almost like a roller coaster ride where you get them up there on the thing, and then you have a strap belt, and then on the belt you add sandbags to front or back depending on the teeter to the totter.
Now my concern is it does sound a tad bit like we're making Dr. Octopus midgets, and they do tend to be angry individuals. They're gonna want payback.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw an origin story, but this is how it starts. And if we can build an empire of evil midgets that are finally tall.
As long as they come see us do stand-up comedy, I'm happy. And if you want to see this guy do stand-up comedy, Pat, tell him where you're going to be.
I will be building stilts. I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to be building stilts for midgets. I'm sorry. Littlest of people. Is that what they're called? The littlest of people?
Not anymore. Not once we give them our fucking stilts. Now they're called your equal.
What would they be called? Big boys? Like we need a name for it. We need troll enhancer? No, that's probably rude.
Like what about dwarf no more?
Dwarf be gone.
Dwarf be gone.
That
dwarf
like
be no more.
Though. It's like,
dwarf be gnome more.
Foot by the foot instead of fruit by the foot.
Midget digit. Midget
digit works, but I'm also thinking because it kind of shoots them up, mid-jet, but it's Jet.
Oh, I like that.
Shoots them
like
up.
That. I kind of like that.
You'll rocket to the sky, and you're mid-jet.
Oh, amigo, you're mid-hat. Meathead.
All right. So
The meathead was on the meathead.
Thursday I'm at Comics. We'll be there with Frank. So check that out, 10 p.m. Comics Roadhouse. I've got a couple other gigs you can see on Facebook. I don't have a lot of radio stuff. I'll be on the Real Ass podcast on Tuesday. We'll drop this on Monday, so they'll be on there. As far as I know, if that changes, it changes, but whatever. And you can listen to me on Monday and Wednesday, I believe, this week on Chaz and AJ from 7 to 10.
Will you be on Sunday again? Will you be the morning DJ of PLR?
It's not morning because morning is just nothing but like it's 10 to 2. But
Oh.
this Sunday, no. But the rest of May, I'll be on Sunday either 10 to 2 or 2 to 5.
Nice.
I'm back and forth.
Have they given you any feedback on my classically Chapin Saturdays?
They have, and they said, please stop calling us. That's what they said. They were upset about that. There was something else I was going to say, and I fucking forgot. It'll come to me while you're talking.
Check out the Davey Mack Sports Program. We're live from the dojo. You heard me talk about that earlier. May 20th, I got a big show with Earl David Reed. More details to come. And tomorrow, when we're dropping this today, is May. And I hear May is the month of the donkey, so you probably want to head over to my YouTube, but you're going to have some fun stuff going on over there.
May is the month of the donkey?
Yeah, be on the lookout.
Is that Chinese?
Nope, that's Tamburoese.
Oh, okay. I thought that was actually the Chinese, like the thing when they do it.
May's my birthday, so
nice.
I like to do stuff.
What day?
21st.
Well, you've got a couple weeks to buy. Bobby has a like strippers. He has a wish list. He wants you to get on there and buy him some midgets.
It's one bullet with my name engraved on it. On that note, if
nope,
you can't...
here's the last thing. I just thought of it. Ready? No, you can kill yourself. I'm just saying that.
But first, before you do, you're going to want to see this.
One more game. Tomorrow on Chaz and AJ on Monday at 9 o'clock, we will be speaking to someone who is one of the tiers, one of the Mount Rushmore of white trash. Can you guess who it is?
Can I ask some questions to narrow it down?
Of course.
Okay. Is it a Connecticut native?
No. This is a national known phenomenon, white trash.
Did she gain her fame in Connecticut?
She is not a she.
Well, there goes my guess of Bad Baby.
Nope.
But would that be on the Mount Rushmore?
I don't think so, because I think you're kind of going more of an OnlyFans, and she's kind of trash. But I'm talking about this was a phenomenon. Old, young, everybody knew of the presence of this trash superstar, this royalty, if you will.
Kid Rock.
No. I kind of give you a hint there.
Royalty. Meghan Markle?
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., calling from prison, Tiger King.
No way.
Yeah. I probably won't be allowed to talk at all, but it will still be really cool to be sitting there as we chat with Tiger King. Calling.
They're just going to be Pat, no.
Well, he's been on one time before and I wasn't there, but this time when I got the rundown today, they're like, they gave the whole thing about what's on tomorrow. Then they went, oh yeah, we forgot, 9 o'clock, Tiger King. Fuck yeah. Tiger
Hell
King.
Yeah, dude. That's so exciting.
Yeah. So if you Google Tiger King and Pat Oates a couple days from now, we'll come up together. It won't make any sense.
That's amazing.
But it will be there. And on that note, Bobby, don't kill yourself. And
if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't join them, beat them. And catch me outside. How about that?
New money Puerto Ricans.